Welcome back to part 3 of the RV125 build. Just wanted to give you a quick update on the cases and where I am. It's a little bit of a mess here at the moment, but I'm literally just about to start reassembling the engine and putting all the bearings back in the cases and that, and start to rebuild everything. But I wanted to give you a quick shot of where I'm at. I've got majority of the parts back. I sent the fork top yokes off to get re-ground and re-chromed. Unfortunately that I couldn't get a new set OEM. I thought they were still available. I ordered them and they said they're available to back order, and then I just had an email literally this week to say they couldn't get them, so I literally stripped them down on Monday and I sent the top yokes off to get re-chromed. And as well as that, I've powder coated the bottom fork extensions ready to reassemble them. And luckily enough, I could still get all the OEM O-rings and bushes to go back inside the forks for that, so the forks will be pretty much brand new again. Assembled some of the little bits on the frame, as you can see, and I got the engine still apart here. If you go back onto my channel, you'll see part 2.1. and you'll see how bad these cases were before I bead-blasted them. Then I ultrasonic them. When you bead-blast something, the aluminium comes out very, very bright and it looks a bit too much. And when I put them into the ultrasonic tank, it darkens it a bit. You've got to be careful. If you leave them in there for too long with ultrasonic in it, you could potentially have to bead-blast them again. So you literally only want to give them literally 5 minutes in the ultrasonic cleaner, and it will just darken up the alloy to give it that OEM look again. So I'll take you off the clamp there now and just show you around where I'm at. Please guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up for the videos. It will all be appreciated. So these are the cases now. All come out nice. You can see all that stuff there. Cylinder head, cylinder barrel, all come out nice and tidy. Got the crank, one of the crank halves here, which has literally come out brand new. I'll give that a bit of a polish on where the bearings go. Makes life easier when you come in to install it. Over here we've got the bike. So there's a frame. I put the swinging arm on, and just literally the shocks are there and just to hold the swinging arm. So really what I need to do now is get the engine in. I don't want to start putting stuff in this area and around this area because it makes it a lot more awkward to put the engine in. So I want to get the engine in there now, and then I can start working, getting the tanks on and stuff like that. Still got the likes of, this is the fuel tap. Got to put the got to wait for the part to be polished. So all these parts in here, I've got to polish these. I'm going to polish these tomorrow. So like I completely stripped this part down, and then I'll rebuild that. This is your horn indicators and lights. You've got your fuel tap there. We'll bead-blast that and polish that up so it looks nice. And then we've got all the OEM levers as well. So we'll will I bead-blast these? Yeah, I probably will bead-blast these and then polish them. So that's going to be all that stuff in there. Easy half a day to concentrate and get all that all nice and shiny. Yeah, so we've got the fuel tanks there. Got the gauges. I still need to look at that gauge and clean them. I'm in no rush to get them done. I need to really take my time doing them. There's all the old bits and pieces. If I'm looking for a certain washer, I'll dive in there and clean it up and give it a coat of paint. Got the drums here. This is only dirt on here, so these have all been rebuilt, ready to go back in the wheels. And then we've got bits and pieces. You've got the fork stuff there, and then we've got the freshly powder coated fork extensions ready to be rebuilt. And then we've got a nice set of RV125 OEM replacement handlebars there. The part number on them is 16-296, and that's a chrome bar as well. and they'll look great when they're back on there. And then we've got the wheels. These have come out real nice. I'm real chuffed how these have come out. These are the OEM wheels, OEM tyres that would originally come on there. You'll see here as well, I put one way and one the other way. The reason why I do that is try and, obviously when you're doing like 80 mile an hour on it, I try and average out the weights, because if, like, technically I should go and get these wheels balanced, but you can't because the way the hub is and everything. So I just try and even out the weights. When I put these two halves together as well, there's meant to be a rubber gasket in between these, and I can no longer get that rubber gasket. So what I did was I literally coated each side of these steels with copper grease. And I mean, I'm literally heavy coat of copper grease. And I think that will work fine. Yeah, so that's where we are. It's all looking somewhat good. And then we're making sure that we use stainless steel fasteners throughout of it when we go to put it all back together. I did I've had all the plastics back from getting all the graphics copied, so there's all the graphics there to put back on it, all the pinstriping and the Suzuki badges and that. And with the main Suzuki badge as well, I've still got to do a bit of work on that. So this is aluminium, so I've powder coated this gloss black, and now I'll polish up the 1, 2 and the 5, and it will look absolutely factory again. I might polish up the sides, all 4 sides, just to give it a bit more 3D look to it. On the floor here we have all the stainless steel that's going back on the bike. There's a lot of stuff. The problem is when we're doing a build like this, it's very hard to work with one kind of bolt, so you've got to order a good load of stuff to make life easier on yourself. So this stainless steel on the floor here is about £250 worth, and I just found a website online and just literally ordered a load of it. And what I done was I measured majority of the bolts that I took off the bike, and that's what I ordered. So I got my engine bolts there, M8s, M6s, M5s, M4s, and then we've got the washers. Over here we've got the OEM parts. Got the OEM cables, we've got headlight rubbers, and then we've got the actual OEM. These, you will not find these on the market like this now. This is a solid metal chromed indicator. You'll find plastic chrome ones, which are like butter, and they tap them, they'll break. But these, I can't believe they still had them, and for the money, they were well worth it, and they are exactly the same. They're exactly OEM replacements. These are Suzuki indicators, which I think will lift up the bike a lot. And they're exactly the same, which I like. In here we just got little bits and pieces, rubbers that were all completely perished before. We've got the other grip for the other side, float bowl gasket, and then just nuts and rubbers and screws and clamps. Over here we have all the engine parts. So this is what I like to do here, is with all the OEM drawings I put all the parts that I could get a replacement. So these are like the bushes for the crankcases, so I try and replace all the stuff I could get hold of. Majority of the stuff I ordered I couldn't get. And then we've got the crank bearings, and then the seals, OEM crank seals, and then spacers. Over here we've got just washers and pins, like I said, stuff I could get, and the stuff I couldn't get, obviously I have to make do with the old. This spring here is well worth changing. Springs, I always like to try and change springs in engines. This spring here goes in here on the ratchet for the kickstart, so by replacing that spring there, it's going to make the kickstart work a lot better. On this side we got the gear selectors, again another spring. another spring. I change all my springs when I do rebuilds. It just makes things a lot better. And then they're the bushes for the selector drums. And then on this side, I could only get one item. It really annoyed me, this. On here, I couldn't get this gasket no more, no longer available. So if you're a manufacturer of gaskets, make this gasket, guys. It covers the oil pump on it. Could you get the banjo bolts? Not sure. But I've got a nice M6 banjo bolts. I'll show you them now. They're real nice. Couldn't get any of these rubbers going into the cases, which annoyed me. Simple rubber. Yeah, I'm going to have to use silicone or try and work out some method of sealing up that gap there so no water will go in there. And then that bolt there is to hold in the drive for the rev counter, I presume. Yeah, so where are them M6 banjo bolts? There we go. Very nice little trick banjo bolt. M6 mountain bike banjo bolts. If you need these, we sell these at off-road only. The part number on these I think is 02-203 possibly. But anyway, they're available at off-road only. So, see, changing all stuff like this, I think it makes the engine, you know, there's not going to be no old bolts sticking out anywhere. You know, I want everything looking as clean as possible. So by doing that kind of thing, it makes the engine look so much better. Did I show you the zinc plated stuff? So these are the cylinder head bolts, all come out nice and clean. Exhaust flange gasket, and then we've got the rear tail lights there, and then we've got the other zinc plated stuff in there, and then the other bits and pieces. I'll just stick you back on the mount. Yep. So yeah, that's it, that's where we are. I'm hoping this weekend now I'll have the engine back together, I'll have the alloy parts polished up, so I want to get this back together. There are little bits floating around on here. Got to rebuild the rear tail lights, because to take them apart to powder coat them, you literally had to take it completely apart. As well as doing that, when you powder coat everything, you've got to make sure everything is earthed again. So this rear tail light was earthed because the rear mudguard is steel. I've got to make sure that that's all re-earthed throughout the frame, so when the lights all come on, everything is working. So it's another thing to keep your eye on. But yeah, getting there now. I'm hoping that this bike will be done before Christmas. That's all depending on the company where I sent the forks to be reground. I did ask very nicely if I could possibly have them back before Christmas. And they're not cheap to get them reground. They're £150 and they're only like that long, and they're only 30mm diameter, and I thought that was pretty dear. It was pretty gutting they didn't have the OEM ones still in stock. It would have been too easy if they had them in stock. And I think they only wanted literally 200 quid a fork, so, and they would have been brand new. The bottoms would have still been chrome on them. Now the bottoms on them are powder coated, which is a shame. But the chroming is just too expensive. Like I said, with these handlebars, I manufacture these TAGZ products, and I literally took the old ones, the old original ones off here, which were all corroded and pitted, you've seen in the last video, and I literally copied them, so we've got an identical set of handlebars here. And then with these, I've got to polish all these before I send them all off to chroming, so I'll spend roughly about 40 minutes polishing this tube up and everything ready to send them off to get chroming. And I get charged £25 to chrome one set of handlebars in the UK. It's not cheap chroming in the UK, and it's a very time-consuming job, I presume, in the factories. I rang up some companies and they wanted 60 and some up to 120 quid to powder coat a set of not powder coat, chrome a set of handlebars. So yeah, to chrome the stuff that I took off it, like on the front fenders and that, and then the exhaust guard and that, it had been way too expensive to do it all. Especially the fork tube extensions, you'd have been £1,500, yeah, £1,500 to get all this stuff re-chromed, easy. I dread to think, you got all the finicky stuff like around the headlight, the bezels for that, and then you've got the little bits, just loads, like the kickstart and stuff like that. If you had to get all that re-chromed, it would not be a cheap bill to pay. And at the end of the day, it wouldn't really add any potential value to the bike if you powder coated them or re-chromed them. Potentially, yes, it would look sharper, but would it add that £1,500 onto the value of the bike? No way. So, by doing that, by powder coating the old chrome stuff, I think it's a lot cheaper, definitely. But I think to keep the handlebars nice and chrome, I think that's a must. You know, it's like them indicators, all these little bits of chrome, when they all go back on, I think it's going to look real nice. Yeah, too nice. Well, especially when all the plastics come back. With the plastics, I sent the headlight unit off to get analysed for the colour pigment, and then I had a litre of paint ordered up, and then I give all the panels and that to a local company to get resprayed and lacquered and everything, so they should be back next week. Once I get them back, I can start putting all that back on as well, so then it will start coming together. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. Give us a thumbs up for this video, and please subscribe. The more subscribers I get, the more I will do these videos and the more bikes I will rebuild. And I'll give you guys tips on things that could possibly go wrong or you can't get, or whatever ways you need help in. So yeah, thanks for watching this video, guys. Remember, thumbs up and subscribe, please.